Let's talk a little bit about the concept of culture. Earlier, we discussed how structures relate to systems of organizing that determine who does and does not have access to resources. Cultures refer to collections of values, beliefs, meanings, ideas that circulate within spaces. Now, the idea of spaces in and of itself is connected to structures in the sense that spaces are organized. Spaces are shaped by boundary conditions that determine what gets included within these spaces and what gets excluded. Within these spaces, then, as groups of people come together, they develop a set of shared symbols through which they participate in relationship to each other, through which they relate to each other, and through which they carry out everyday meanings. These everyday forms of meaning making, forms of communication, then make up what we come to understand as culture within these spaces. Communication in this sense is fundamental to the constitutive processes of culture. It is through communication that we come to create culture, and culture in turn offers a substratum, offers a base, offers a set of shared meanings, values, symbols through which we come to communicate with each other. In this notion of culture being constituted through communication and in turn constituting communication, we also need to understand the role of structure. Structure, as a system of organizing, determines then the ways in which culture gets to be formed, the ways in which culture gets to be reproduced, and the ways in which culture takes expression. Within the everyday settings of human life, structure is mediatized through context. Context offers the recipe for action, the ways in which human beings within a culture act, and it is also in relationship to the context that we as human beings find meaning. So when we interact with each other in everyday processes, when we make meaning through these processes of interaction with each other, we do so in response to a context that we are responding to. In that sense, one needs to be sensitized to the idea of structure as being present in our everyday lives, in organizing the spaces, in shaping the shared values, and in shaping the meanings through which we participate in relationship to each other. In addition, there is a really important point here in terms of the relationship of communication and structure. That refers to the role of communication, the role of shared values and meanings as reified in communication in both reproducing structures as well as in challenging or transforming structures. It is through communication that cultures can be transformed. It is through communication that these cultural values, cultural meanings that are circulated offer entry points for transforming broader structures of organizing. In the context of contemporary logics of economic organizing, then, the first thing we need to recognize is that communication and culture are central to formulating these logics, and in turn, they are also central in reproducing these logics. Moreover, if you think about the transformative opportunities of participating in political economy through culture and communication, you recognize that it is through communication that one can create opportunities for transforming the ways in which economies are organized, for transforming the ways in which politics is organized. In other words, the everyday meanings that we exchange in communicative processes, the everyday meanings that we constitute through our participation, can also offer important vantage points for imagining alternative rationalities, alternative ways of thinking about the world, and alternative ways of constructing economic relationships.